Scaling your law firm doesn't have to be difficult. It is all about mastering a few key strategies, systems, and mindset. Welcome to the Being Unstoppable podcast, dedicated to helping you scale your law firm without burnout. I am your host, Carolee Fontanelli, and I have successfully scaled my firm so that it doesn't rely on me. Listen in as I share with you how you can do the same. Let's transform your business starting now. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am so glad that you are here. Today we have a very special guest who is going to be talking to us about her law firm journey, and I'm really excited to introduce you very shortly. But first of all, I would love to talk to you about my free workshop that is live. So it is coming up in the next week or so. Head on over to my website, www.scalablelaw.com, to join me in my free webinar where I'm going to teach you how to build a 7-figure law firm without burnout. That's the most important thing. How to build a firm that gives you profit and more freedom without burning out on the way through. I see so many law firm owners who really struggle with burnout because they are just overdoing it. And as you're going to be hearing really soon from our guest, she bought herself a job for many years before she started really scaling her firm and creating a firm where it gave her more freedom. So if you would love to know how to avoid that and avoid burnout and quickly get to your 7 figures, then head on over to my website and join up to my free live webinar that's coming up very soon. So first of all, before we get started, I have got a review. Gold Coast Injury Lawyer, thank you so much for leaving a review for me. I have been meaning to write a review for a while, she said, but time got away from me. I often don't make time to listen to podcasts, but whenever I listen to Carolee's, there's a nugget of gold or several that I walk away with. Her podcasts are easy to listen to, practical, and it inspires me to take action. I now have my own side hustle, which Carolee inspired me to create and helped me to believe I could achieve that goal. Thanks, Carolee. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for that amazing review. And if you want to find Anna, she is at Gold Coast Injury Lawyer and also at Expert Witness Coach, which is an online program that Anna runs. So head on over and follow her. If you would like to leave a review, do so by scrolling down to wherever you are tuning in from. Leave a review and leave me your handle so that we know how to contact you, and we will give you a shout out on the podcast as well. Anyway, let's get stuck into today's podcast. So today we have a very special guest. She is one of my incredible students. Her name is Kelly Stanford, and she has got a law firm called Stanford Solicitors and Mediators located in the suburbs in Sydney. She specializes in estate planning, family law, and mediation, and she has been plugging away at her law firm since 1999. It is so interesting chatting with Kelly about the ups and downs of owning a law firm and exactly how she got started, what then happened after that, and then how she has discovered that scaling her firm has been able to bring her a whole lot more joy because she has more freedom now than she has had in the past. She explains throughout the chat that we have that she really bought herself a job when she started her law firm, and she was stuck in that job for quite a while until more recently when she's discovered through the Scalable Business Lounge that she can scale and actually create a business that gives her a lifestyle that she loves. And that is exactly what she is doing. So I would love, without further ado, to introduce you to Kelly Stanford from Stanford's Solicitors and Mediators. Hello, Kelly, and welcome to the podcast. So I've already done a little intro on you, and now it's just time to get to meet you and talk about your life as a law firm owner. So would you like to give us a little bit of a download about you, where you're located, what your firm is called, what area of practice you're in, that sort of thing?
Thank you for having me. My firm's based in Sydney, in a suburb of Sydney called Camden. We're probably about an hour out of the city itself. Very busy area of Macarthur. Our main practice areas, the two areas that we focus on are family law and estate planning is the other one. So they're both nice areas where you get to help people, which is good. So that's why we like that.
Awesome. And what sort of what percentage of family law do you do versus estate planning?
Oh, it's probably 75 family, 25 estate at the moment.
Yeah. Awesome. And has it always been that way, or have you sort of taken on one more than the other?
No, my firm started but doing conveyancing. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to do any litigation, none of that rubbish. And somehow I ended up doing family law and care and protection work and, the usual stuff that happens in the local court that once you've done it a few times, you wish you'd never done it. It just wasn't my cup of tea, right?
Yes. Yeah.
They say there's a job for everyone. That was not a job for me.
Yeah.
So, I did a little bit of crime, and although you wouldn't want me to do anything for you, Carolee, other than maybe a plea and a drink drive. That's it. That's about.
I'm the same. I would be absolutely useless inside of the criminal court.
So I enjoy family law. It used to baffle me, but now, years and years and years later, I finally understand the method in the madness. Well, I think I do anyway. And estate planning I've always loved. I've been working, hard in the background, learning and, honing that side of my skills as well. So taken a long time, but
yeah, that's awesome. So before we really launch into learning more about your journey as a law firm owner, I always ask my guests the same question, and that is, what makes you unstoppable?
I think it is because I just don't give up. If I want to learn how to do something, want to know how to do something, I just keep going until I do it, even if it scares the crap out of me. There's only a couple of things that I will procrastinate on that really scare me. But most things I will just jump in and have a crack.
I love that. They say, there's a percentage, I can't remember what it is, but of businesses fail within the first 12 months or the first 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
I really think part of that is that, the first 12 months and 5 years can be really, really hard going, and it's not necessarily what you think it's going to be. It's not the $1 million business straight up. It's not the freedom straight away. It's not any of those things. And I think so many people, they give up. And that's why businesses don't last, because, the going gets tough and people go, this is just too hard. And so it's a, testament that if you don't give up and you keep pushing through, that you can have a really successful law firm that stands the test of time. So tell me about your entry into having your own law firm. So I'm gathering you were working at another practice somewhere, and then what then happened, and why did you decide to go out on your own?
I did law as a mature age student. I was married and had 2 little kids at the time while I was going to uni 3 nights a week. I worked for a few different firms, and some of them were really good and some of them were not so great. You know, I had ones where I had to, if I wanted a check signed after lunch, I had to head around to the local pub to get my boss to sign it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, one of those sort of firms,
Yeah.
you know. But I've also had really great, you know, employers as well, where, you know, we were treated well. And so when one of my last bosses, he was really great. I absolutely loved him to death, and he suddenly passed away with a brain tumor.
Oh, that's really sad.
And he'd said to me before he got sick, you know, like, Kelly, you should go and do law. You should go and do law. And, you know, I was working as a paralegal then. I said, yeah, no, I don't think so. And then he passed away, and his brother said to me, Kelly, David always talked about you and said that, you know, you really should do law, and he really thought you could do it. And I went, oh, really? Like, I only went to year 10. Like, are you serious? But anyway, so I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a crack, and that's what I did. And then during that study period, I worked for some pretty ordinary people and thought, if they can do it, I can't be that hard.
That's awesome. And it's just amazing how one person can influence your life in such a, you know, incredible way, because what a fantastic career to be a lawyer, and what a fantastic career to own your own firm and be able to lead people as well. So thanks to David. Was it David?
Yes, David. Yeah.
Here you are, which is just awesome. Well, not just David, obviously. He planted the seed and you did all the hard work, but that's just such a great story, and I'm sure that he'd be super proud of you if he knew.
Yeah, sure.
So if they can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
So what sort of prompted you to really take that leap of faith?
I think it's just, like I said, I'd worked for some pretty crappy people, and I thought, surely I can do this, right? And not be crappy about it. So that's what I tried to do. I think I don't think I'm a bad employer. You know, I'm pretty laid back, pretty easy to work around. I do have my quirks like everybody does, but yeah, that was, actually, in hindsight, I was buying myself a job.
So did you buy into a practice? Did you buy into a practice, or did you start your own?
Started out of my own.
Yeah.
But I was, you know, to me, in my mind, I had to buy things to set this practice up, right? You know, I had to buy all this equipment and stuff. And back then, you know, there was still faxes and
Right. So when was this that you did that?
So I finished uni at the end of 98 or 99, something like that. So it was around 1999.
Awesome. And that's so great.
Yeah.
And then enter your, and like back then as well, like a lot of people these days, I mean, the entry into your own practice seems a lot easier today, even compared to when I started my own practice, because even back in 2012, there was nothing like remote working.
No, that's right. You had to have a shop front.
You know, and so, I mean, we only just got a website. So I was in the practice that I'm in now, but didn't take it over till 2012. And so we only got a website in, say, 2009. Everyone was still very heavy on the yellow pages, which was getting ridiculously expensive. I can't imagine what the cost would have been in Sydney. But, you know, back then in 1999, you know, you would have had to have had a premises.
Yes.
Everything would have been very paper heavy.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of those challenges back then.
Well, it was finding premises. It was, you know, praying that you found somewhere that already had a fit out done, so you didn't have to do that. Somewhere that, you know, had some storage so you could put the archive boxes and stuff. Like we, today, we don't need.
All those archive boxes.
It's even changed really in the last maybe 7 or 8 years, because when we moved into this office, I bought a compactus to put the files in.
Right, yes. Well,
and then within, not very long after that, I was traveling for work, so I was really relying on Leap in the cloud.
yes.
Leap in the cloud changed my whole, practice.
Yes.
Before that, I was using, like LogMeIn and stuff like that to log in remotely, and that drove me insane.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I can remember, we've only very recently gone paperless. COVID made us do that. So
Yeah.
I was definitely behind the 8 ball there. But, you get a lot of kickback from different lawyers in your firm who are old school, who still like flicking paper and all that kind of stuff. But COVID made us do that immediately, and literally going paperless was an overnight event. But the upside of that is the cost is just reduced by so much. Like we were paying, and I don't know about you, but with conveyancing, there's so many files, and you've got to keep them for 7 years, and so we were paying between $500 and $1,000 a month just on archiving.
Oh, absolutely.
So that cost now we don't have to worry about, and we're still paying for archiving because we've still got files from in the last 7 years, but I'm looking at, by the time we get 5 years down the track, we're not going to have any archiving, which is going to be brilliant.
That's where I am now. So 7 or 8 years ago, well, probably longer than that, actually, maybe 10 years ago, we started scanning our archive files. But because I was that procrastinator and chicken, we still kept the files, right?
Yes.
And we have only just now got to the point where we're not paying for archiving. Everything's destroyed now.
That's awesome. So let's go back to 1999. So you find your premises with your fit out.
Yeah, it was awesome.
With your fit out.
I hit the jackpot.
Yeah. You have did you have a wireless phone or a plug-in phone back then? It would have been
plug-in
phone. You've got your fax machine. You've got your photocopier.
You're dictating onto a tape.
Onto
a micro cassette or a mini cassette or whatever they were.
And so tell me who your first employee was, and how did you take that big step? Because inside the Scalable Business Lounge, this is something that a lot of people, this is a big scary thing for them when do I get my first employee? Who is that person, and can I afford them?
Yeah, I was super lucky. My granddad was my mail boy.
I love Granddad.
God love him. He used to pick up the mail in the morning and drop it off in the afternoon to the mail and the DX. And when I got started to get really busy, my mum came in and answered the phones. And she did.
It was a real family affair.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then my daughter came in after school, and she did, all that sort of, whatever kids do, running around delivering things. Because back then, remember, I'm purely conveyancing, so she was dropping off and picking up contracts for the local agents.
So she wasn't running down to the pub at 4:00 to get you to sign things?
No, she was not. My granddad was going, driving, half an hour to the council to pick up the zoning certificates and calling into the water board and stuff. It was great. Yeah.
That's funny. So you started out that way, and then in this time, so what was your next kind of big sort of jump up in your firm, do you think? Your next level that you reached, where you were sort of, you strived to get to the next level and you got there. What did that look like?
I think it was hiring strangers.
Yeah.
So that was really a big thing. I was lucky enough to have a girl that I worked with when I was actually working for David. We job shared. So she came on and worked 3 days a week.
So she was literally like your twin that you then...
Yes.
Yeah, how wonderful.
So we worked very similar. So she was really the first major sort of hire I had. She was like in a paralegal role, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Lisa was just so good, for me. But before that, I'd had, juniors answering the phone and, stepping into, filling the role where, granddad was or mum was, we had, another secretarial hire for, again, that conveyancing stuff. So it's all process driven.
Yes, yeah, and over time. So tell me about, because this is, I think, of interest to a lot of listeners. You were in a practice area you did not really love, and you then transitioned into another practice area. How did that sort of come about? Did you have to, was it difficult for you to give up doing the conveyancing? Was it scary? Or, how did that all happen?
It happened, Carolee, because I felt sorry for a client and thought, okay, I'll help you. I don't know anything about this, and naively went off and started.
So was that a family law matter?
Yeah. And the second one that I felt sorry for and ended up doing a lot of that work and liking it was care and protection stuff.
Right.
And
that's so interesting.
I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And I think because I hadn't been taught formally or mentored by someone, it took me I was a bit slow on the uptake of, learning, especially family law, but now it's all right. If anybody has any questions, they can ask.
Yeah. So you decided,
made all the mistakes.
so you accidentally fell into these different files. And then how did you sort of decide that, right, I'm not going to do conveyancing anymore?
Yeah. Well,
I'm not going to offer that as a criteria.
We haven't actively pursued that for probably over 10 years, but we've just been doing it for repeat clients, and then they'll refer someone, and we've only just, I suppose, in the last 3 months said no, that's it. Even if someone's referred to us, we're just going to say no.
Yeah.
Furthermore. And that's hard. That's hard to say no to a referral, Carolee, because I feel like I'm letting down the person who's made the referral.
Yes, and I also feel that you have, the couple of family law clients that you took them on because you felt sorry for them. So, you have this, you want to help people.
Yeah.
So if there's work coming in the door and it's a trusted person who's referring you the work, it must be incredibly hard to say, no, I can't help you with that anymore.
Yeah. The hardest one so far has been one of my mates from school, who I still see, but his daughter. I'm buying a house. It's my first home. And I really had to, say no, even though my heart was saying, just do this one, it'll be fine.
So why do you think, what do you think the benefit of it is saying no? Like I have a lot of opinion around this topic, but what do you think the benefit is?
I think that the benefit is twofold. Conveyancing is not, it's no longer brings me joy. It's no longer a pleasure to do.
Yeah.
And secondly, from a process perspective and the way work and things are running and flowing in the office, it disrupts that.
Yes, 100%. I think when you're not doing something all the time, and it's not part of what you do, this one little thing, it's like it's like a clink in a chain, and it just disrupts the whole workflow.
It does.
And then that conveyance, like that you used to be really great at, but I mean, things have changed now as well so much.
Yeah.
And you might not have a team that's readily doing those things. Those tasks just end up being such a headache and so unprofitable.
Yeah, when it's only a small part of your practice and you sort of still got to keep up, like you say, you've got to keep up with what's going on, and it's just, no, I'm not doing enough of it to enjoy it, to make so if something comes along that's different that I haven't seen before, or it's then a big deal, I've got to go and work it out, or because I feel sorry for someone.
Exactly. So in the last, you've been in your own practice now 22 years or 23 years. What do you think has been like the biggest challenge you've faced in that time?
Confidence. Confidence in myself, confidence in my decision making, the slow realization despite reading, books like The E-Myth, where I read it and said, oh my God, I've just got myself a job.
So was that, did you read that?
No boss here.
Did you read that after I sent that to you?
No.
Or you read it before?
Oh, no. I'd read it a long, long time ago, like probably almost 20 years ago, probably.
Yes. Yeah, it's such a brilliant book, isn't it? I send it out to everyone who joins the Scalable Business Lounge because it's such a simple read, but it's just absolutely the truth.
Right. Yeah, no, it is. It's so good. But that book also taught me about process. You've got to try and have a system in place, and what I'm slowly learning, and again, I feel like I'm the slow learner in the group. Is that it has to come out of my head and into a process for someone else to see. So it's when you're running the business, it's very hard to take time because you're working in the business. Hard to take time out of the business to go, okay, I need 2 weeks to put this process together. I need.
Yes.
It's very hard to do that.
There's so many
you worry about income, you worry about, servicing clients, all of those things. If you're just going to put your blinkers on and go, right, I need to do this, that's a very hard. I'm struggling with that.
100%.
I'm getting there, but,
there's so many jobs. And like you said, you started your own firm and you bought yourself a job.
Yeah.
And it's often the hardest job you've ever had because you've got so much more responsibility than you've ever had. There's no entitlements with this job of being a business owner. If you don't make enough money that month, you're the one who doesn't get paid and you're the one who doesn't get super, but everyone else does.
Yes.
So, there's some harsh realities with being your own business owner, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why it's, so important to get it to a level where you're not having to stress so much about that type of thing.
Yeah.
So what's been your biggest learning, do you think, inside the Scalable Business Lounge, or the takeaways that you're taking away from being a part of that group?
I think that the group is actually quite good. It's watching other people as well is helping me understand that it's okay for me to step away. It's okay for me to trust other people. I have had some disasters in the past, but I have got a great team at the moment, and I just took 4 weeks off.
Which is awesome that you did that.
I know.
And how did the firm go? Tell us about it.
They were fine. Well, of course, things, shit hits the fan, right, the minute you go away. But they handled it well. A few times they said that they were either crying or curled up in the fetal position. But that's just client stuff, where they couldn't offload to me. I think they handled it brilliantly. They did everything. There was nothing. I didn't come back to anything on fire or no law cover claims or anything like that. So, and I said to them, like, thank you so much. You've done a great job. So we're heading off to, because we do have such a great team and they've met targets and stuff like, that you've told us to set within the group, the Scalable Business Lounge. We've booked 5 days in Bali.
Awesome.
Yeah, the team, the whole lot, admin and all, we're all going.
You're taking your whole team.
Yeah.
How fabulous.
We're all going to Bali for 5 days, I think. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So when are you going to do that?
It's booked. We fly out the 1st of September.
How fabulous. So everyone gets 3 days off work, or is it there?
Yeah.
Awesome. And are you just going to put the answer phone on, or how are you going to manage?
We've got a locally in our area, and again, the importance of networking and building those relationships. We have a couple of local VAs who
Yeah.
are, and we do this over Christmas because we close for 3 weeks every Christmas. We just transfer the phone to them. They answer the phone, email the messages. It's all good.
Yeah. Awesome. That's so fabulous. I bet your team super excited about that.
They are. They are. I am too. I think it's really nice to be able to show that you appreciate what they're doing, you know. And don't get me wrong, you know, like they know that as a business owner, there's targets and things to be met, and we have to work as a team and we do our best. We're pretty good, you know. Like I said, we're pretty flexible. We all work together. It's not I'm the boss, so I'm not going to photocopy. It's none of that around here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're just such a good team that I just want to make sure that they understand how much we appreciate them.
That's so fantastic.
Yeah.
So you've been able to implement enough that you can take a little bit of time out for yourself, which is great. And having a whole month away from the firm is, you know, it's a decent amount of time.
Yes, absolutely.
And it can be scary to do that. But did you kind of come back feeling like, oh, well, this can run without me? It doesn't necessarily need me if I'm getting the tasks off my plate and getting them onto someone else's plate.
Yeah. What I thought when I came back was I need to hire again. But it's tricky to find someone who fits in because we aren't, I suppose, a traditional law firm where people are walking around in suits and being all fancy. We're nothing like that.
But the good thing is that not everyone wants that.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people don't want that. You know, we're moving into a really great time, I think, in law where we can really carve our own path, and it doesn't have to be the path that was carved for us by firms that were established 100 years ago. Yeah. So I think that's it's really exciting to be a law firm owner these days because, you know, you can be, if you want, a lawyer that works from the beach, or you can be a law firm owner that, you know, has, like I do, you know, months a year off work, going away on trips or doing whatever. Or, you know, picking your kids up from school. Like, you really can create that freedom if you implement, like you said, the processes for everyone to follow so that your legal team know what to follow. So that's so good that you're doing that. So what's in the future in terms of your firm and moving your firm forward?
For me personally, I want to get to a point where I'm only working 3 days a week. At the moment, I have Tuesday mornings off to take I try to most weeks, to take my youngest granddaughter, who's 3, mind you, to gymnastics. So that's a joyful thing to do during the week. And like I said, I think we need another senior lawyer. I spent many years thinking that I had to hire a junior lawyer to train up, and I just had that mentality that, you know, no, this is what you do. Nobody's loyal employee anymore.
No, they're not. They're not. The problem with that is that, one, if you spend all your time training the junior lawyer, that's a lot of time off your plate when you're already busy. It's not
trying to supervise them.
Yes.
I get anxious, they're anxious, and it's just a shit show.
Yes, and not all of us are built for that type of mentoring either.
No.
And it can be really difficult. And the other difficulty is that you've then got someone who you're training for the next 2 or 3 years before they're really profitable in your firm. And then they often leave.
Yeah.
So, you know, having a senior hire who can hit the ground running, possibly bring more experience to your firm than you've ever had before, and, you know, be even possibly better than you is the best, I think, the best option.
And that's true. And I think that's what they say, hire for your weaknesses. And I'm really lucky that both of our senior lawyers are really great on detail and following through on things. Me, not so much.
And that can leave you to be creative, which I know that you love being creative.
Yeah.
So what other, and sort of be the visionary of the firm as well, because no one else is doing that role.
No.
Or doing that role. So what part of running your law firm or being a law firm owner do you love the most, do you think?
I think it's the people. I do like my favourite client at the moment. Of course, it changes, from time to time.
Yes.
1 minute, family law is my favourite. The next minute is estate planning. But at the moment, estate planning clients are my favourite. I just enjoy working with them and making sure everything's set up for them and seeing how excited they are and thinking, oh my God, I didn't think of that. And then I go, oh yeah, this is what we need to do.
I've never worked in estate planning, but I imagine, like with family law, you're dealing, it's an area of law where someone's got a really tough pain point that we're trying to help them with.
Yeah. And people don't talk about it.
Yeah, and it can be just such a tough time for them, and the lawyer is definitely not their friend. It's nearly like another enemy just about because, they don't want to be in the process and it's just so difficult for them. Whereas with estate planning, I imagine it can be actually, like it's not so much of a pain point as a risk management issue and it's sort of planning for the future and planning for your family. So it's a bit more, I feel like you get a better vibe of a client.
Oh, yeah.
Which is...
that's true. 9 out of 10 at the moment are all planning and they're all starting to travel again and, they're wanting to make sure everything's all set up. We do get the sad ones where someone's really sick and they need to, have their documents done urgently, that sort of thing. And even then, it's a nice feeling that you get as a lawyer because you are actually helping someone. You're putting their mind at rest.
Yes, yeah,
and that this is, they're going to get, their wish type thing.
That's right. So, how can people connect with you and find you?
I am on LinkedIn. I am on Facebook. Instagram, you'll find me as Chronicles of Granny because that's what I am, Granny. And then the firm is obviously on Facebook and Instagram as well.
So it's Stanford's Family Law and Mediation,
Stanford Solicitors and Mediators, and I think the handles are just Stanford Solicitors. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll put those on our show notes as well. So if you'd like to connect with Kelly, you can do that over on our show notes. I'll link her website so that you can find her really easily. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's always great having students of the Scalable Business Lounge on here. And I absolutely love watching you, implement and grow as you're going.
Yeah, it's a great program. I highly recommend it to people. It is, it's hard work. It's not easy work. It's hard work, but it's once you've done it. Sorry, it's my phone. Once you've done it, it's set up for you. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I always say to people, it's like buying a gym membership. You can't buy a gym membership and expect to lose weight or gain muscles or whatever it is result you want without actually going there and doing the things.
Yeah.
And it's similar to that, isn't it? Because we have, people who join and they show up like yourself and they make, massive inroads in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, you've definitely got to put the effort in the work in.
Absolutely.
But it's well worth it. I would put the effort in the work in, even if it was only for the 4-week holiday a year where you don't have to stress. But it's for so much more than that because
it's more than that.
You're growing a team,
Yeah. I'm having a lot of, like I said, we shut for 3 weeks at Christmas. And so I know for the next couple of years we've got plans where we will be away for 4 weeks in the middle of the year as well. So, those systems have to be there. They have to be operational so that I can step back and
have freedom.
The rewards. Yes.
Yeah. Have freedom, and also just have that white space to be a creative, visionary business owner, rather than someone who's like head down, in client files all the time, where you've just got no mental capacity to take anything or to have that sort of flow,
Yeah, and that's where it's hard. I think when you're starting a business, if you're in that startup phase, you will struggle with doing your client work, but then being creative, which is the fun stuff. I think is the fun stuff, doing the social media, doing, thinking about blogs, or even writing stuff for, or talking to your mates about, workflow and what do you think? Do you think this is okay, this step? Do you think this is that? I mean, I'd hate to tell you how many hours Elspeth and I have spent on the phone, or even Bron, talking about, cost agreements and should we do this or should we do that? I mean, how nerdy is that? But
yeah, but that's the benefit of having a group of people in there who are all in business, all worrying about all these same little things. Worried about. And it's better that you've got people to have those conversations with and to nerd out over a cost agreement than to have to do it alone,
Yeah.
That's so important. And I think, it's been a lonely path to be a law firm owner, and you definitely would have found that as well. And it's not in the last few years that there's been options to have this connection with people.
Yeah. So you do feel alone, and you do, like they say, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So I, have not been running a business for 23 years. I've been running a job the majority of that, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
And it's only in the last few years that I've gone, hang on, this is a business.
Yeah.
And it's slowly taken me that time. I mean, call me slow, but that's what's happened. It's the reality.
Well, I think, when you're isolated, things
and busy with work.
And busy with work. And you then just think that, well, this is what owning a law firm looks like. And it's not until you start sort of looking outwardly, and we can do that now with social media. We didn't have that opportunity before. And it's only been in the last, 5 years maximum in Australia that lawyers have been appearing on social media.
That's true.
Lawyers and law firm owners, we are slow to move with the times when it comes to business. We really are. We're only just starting to peek our head out now to go, well, this is how we can run this business. There's all these different options. We don't have to run it like where I just left from runs theirs, or the old practice, where there's the older bloke who's been practicing law the same way for 40 years.
Yeah.
So I think, we're emerging, and out of that, we're able to be connected with each other and learn from each other, which is really awesome.
And I actually think women are leading the way in that area, because we are making or creating practices that suit ourselves and suit our own lifestyle. And I love to see and watch new firms opening where, they're mums and they're doing all sorts of things. And I'm a little bit jealous, in the sense that I wish I'd been able to do that with my kids when they were younger.
Yes, that's right.
I couldn't. I didn't go to sports carnivals. I didn't do any of that stuff. Whereas now, these women that I'm watching now, I'm cheering them on because they're doing all of those things.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's all about the flexibility. And also, it's only been, like we said before, very recently that people can sort of start up these more or less online firms.
Yeah,
most people are still kind of seemingly looking like they've got a shop front with different serviced office facilities and stuff like that. But the reality is it's them and a phone, and they're sitting at home doing a great job impacting and serving their clients.
Yeah, that's true, and that's just so good. And yeah, it's a lovely thing to be part of, really.
Yeah, it is. Well, we'll leave it there, but it was awesome having a chat with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Being Unstoppable podcast, brought to you by the Scalable Business Lounge. If you would love to learn how to scale your law firm without burnout, then join my free workshop at caroleefontanelli.com. Until next time, you have got this.